Hi everyone, my name is Jackie Christensen. I am with the company A Word With Us. That is the company that brought you the content for today's workshop. I'm recording this video to provide tips for talking to administration. And we felt like a video would be the best way to deliver this message, as most of my tips come from personal experiences. So being able to share with you my personal experiences is crucial for giving you some feedback on how to successfully have conversations with admin, because I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. A little bit about myself. I am an EL teacher for a district in Iowa. I started the co-teaching program for English learners within my district, so I had to rely heavily on the admin for support. And I initially had zero support. So all of these tips come from the pitfalls I went through and the successes I found after working with admin. And I'm going to start out with one question, and that is, when should I talk to admin? So this is a question you should be asking yourself. And the first thing you should always think about when you are thinking you should talk to admin is, do I feel confident? So you should talk to admin when you feel confident. This can be hard for EL teachers. As an EL teacher, I sometimes struggled to have confidence in talking to admin and gaining their support. I often felt like I was on my island, and my administration really didn't understand what I did during my day-to-day activities. So the first thing I always tell teachers is you need to have confidence in yourself and your abilities, because when you get in front of someone else and try to ask for help or support, the first thing that sometimes goes away is our confidence. So while it seems a little bit fluffy for me to start with confidence, it's essential. You need to go in there with an idea and be confident with that. You should also talk to admin after you've had the initial conversation. So if you are going to admin for support with co-teaching, you should make sure you've already had your initial conversation with your co-teacher. A lot of issues can be resolved between the two of you. We have said, and you've probably heard this already in part 2, that if you're constantly talking to admin and constantly asking for a new co-teacher, the problem might be reflected on yourself. So really, after you've tried to resolve any issues and come up with solutions with your co-teacher, that is your time to talk to admin. Especially after you've had the initial conversation and have had time together to teach. Don't go running to admin at the first second. They will be annoyed, and your co-teacher will lose trust. You should also talk to admin when you have an action plan. I found in my beginning of building the EL program for co-teaching that my admin really appreciated when I came in and had all of the solutions and steps really laid out and provided for them. So if I wanted planning time, I figured out a way to get creative with my schedule and the district schedule in order to provide a solution. If you just go in and complain, they are not open to what you have to say, just to be honest. I really had thought about and generated some ideas on my own before stepping in to the administration office. And I would suggest this especially if you are asking for something like money or time, because if the more ideas you have and are able to bounce off each other, the more successful your solution will be. They might not like your ideas. They might not like your solution. But the more willing you are to compromise, the more likely they are to buy into what you have to say. And the last thing I want to talk about is, you should talk to admin when you want to address both the good things that are happening in your classroom and the bad things. So I often found myself only stepping into my principal's office to complain. And I noticed every time I would walk past him, his body language would just be trying to avoid the conversation with me. So I really wanted him to start seeing the good and why I was so invested in co-teaching. So we've already talked about this for when things are working well or not going well, but you should have admin observe you and see the great things that you are doing in your co-taught classroom. In order to create buy-in, they need to see why it's successful. So make sure that you're both going to admin for both the good and the bad. That can be hard to do, but your relationship will be stronger. After I showed my principal, me actually teaching with a content teacher, and how successful our students were in that classroom, he started coming to me and asking for other things we can do, other areas we could co-teach in, other ways we could get special education involved in co-teaching. He was looking to me to be a leader because I showed him the good things and the positive outcomes that can come from co-teaching. The next question I want to talk about is, what can you expect from admin? So as teachers, we have to have realistic expectations for what admin can actually do. The first thing that they can usually provide are resources. This can be professional development opportunities, or if you have extra room in your budget, some money. I really would suggest having admin look within the district for resources that you could use. Ask them if they know of a great co-teaching pairing, or they know of another principal in the area that knows a great co-teaching pairing. Admin are connected to so many different individuals in the education realm. So really ask for their resources and support. The other thing you can expect from admin is help with scheduling. So we really stress having common planning time, and I will talk about that conversation in a minute. But admin creates the schedule. So if you want to help with that, offer helping with creating the schedule. I start with my secondary schools at the beginning of every year when I know that they are scheduling, and I try to place my EL students according to the needs that I have as well as my co-teachers' needs. This might not be feasible in your district, this might not relate to you, but try to get a foot in the door with scheduling. Again, come with an action plan when you are ready to talk about scheduling. What solutions can you offer? How can you be flexible with your time? I'm not saying that you need to take over all of the work that admin is doing by coming with these action plans, but just have some suggestions and show that you're willing to compromise with them. You can also expect planning time from admin. Now, I've had to get very creative with this. I am a K-12 teacher, and I travel to 5 schools every day. This is a huge time commitment, and I feel like I am going crazy every day. But I work with 5 different schools, so that means 5 different principals. So I need common planning time with my content teacher, or teachers, because I have multiple. So I've had to get creative with my planning time. It might not, for me, be during the day. It might not be a common core period that we share. I've had to ask for planning time that's outside of school. So some ways I've been creative with this is asking for time during PD days. So if there's a PD day devoted to a topic that you know that is not very applicable to your teaching, then ask for admin to use that time that's already paid time for you to maybe take a half a day and plan with your co-teacher. As the EL teacher, I've also suggested to admin to offer me some planning time in the summer. So in our district, every content area comes up with a 6-year curriculum cycle. So like social studies, every 6 years will have 20 hours every summer to redo their content. Well, that curriculum cycle is really only applicable to content areas. So what I said and asked of my admin was, when is the EL curriculum planning cycle up? And they didn't know what to say because there is not really a set curriculum for EL. So because I am co-teaching and in multiple content areas, when that content area is up for their curriculum cycle, I get 20 hours. And because I co-teach with math, social studies, and language arts, I've had 60 hours in the past 3 years of planning time. And I came up with that idea by myself, and I confronted my admin with confidence and said, hey, when's my curriculum cycle? Oh, I don't have one? Well, great. I'm going to have one this summer, and I'm going to have one next summer because that's math. And then the following summer, I'm going to have it with English language arts. So that's how I got creative with my planning time. And also, they have seen the effects of what I've done with those 20 hours in the classroom. So now they're more willing to give me that time year after year. So we've talked about when you should talk to admin and what you can expect from admin. Now here are some notes I want to leave you with. What you should not expect from admin. So the first thing you should not expect from them is unlimited resources. So we all know education doesn't have a lot of money. So they need to, our admin and principals and whoever you need to talk to within your district is really stretched on where they're placing their money. And you are one teacher among many that need support from admin. So be realistic with what you need and really talk with your co-teacher. How much PD do we actually need? How much planning time, paid planning time, do we actually need? How can we be successful with a limited amount of planning time instead of always just relying on what admin can give you, because they do have limited resources. You should also not expect conflict management and addressing personality differences with admin. So if you have a conflict with your co-teacher, this is part 2 of co-teaching. You should know how to address it. You should really try to work with your co-teacher on coming up with solutions for your conflicts, having those tough conversations. And like I just said in the beginning of the video, admin cannot fix personality differences. If you are constantly asking admin for a new co-teacher because your personalities just don't mesh, look in the mirror and try to figure out a way to resolve that conflict. And you have your reflections from today. You have your conversation starters from today. You have all the tools in that initial conversation as well that you can use to really resolve your own conflicts without relying on admin. And then finally, a fix-all solution. So you will have to expect compromise. And just like you have to compromise with your co-teacher, you have to compromise with your principal or your EL lead or whoever is your administration member that you need to talk with. So a solution that fixes everything just doesn't exist. And if you go in with an action plan, expect some of those action steps or solutions that you want not to occur. However, that does not mean there won't be a compromise or solution. So you should expect some sort of compromise from your administration. And that comes from that confidence piece and also having an action plan. If you are confident and you have created some sort of steps for solving the problem, then hopefully your administration is more willing to compromise. Hopefully all these tips have been beneficial for you. I'm going to leave you with a tool that you can use when talking to admin. One of the main questions we get at the workshops we present to is, what can I show my admin in order for them to buy into co-teaching? What can I show them that proves that the initial conversation or common planning time or time to reflect is important? So in your participant packet, there is a article drafted by our company, A Word with Us. It's called What It Takes, and it outlines the essentials for co-teaching. And this is something you can show your admin. Here is what I need in order to be successful in the classrooms that I'm in. This can help guide your conversation and can give you that confidence that you need. Good luck with your conversations, and I hope they are successful.